Okay, so in our last video we created a contact detail card using base widgets like the container, the text, the margin, the padding of the container, and editing it to suit our needs. In this video I'll be showing you a widget that does almost entirely the same thing or with less code, and it's called the list tile. So you use the list tile widget which comes with flutter, so list tile. Now if you don't know what the list tile does, which by default you probably wouldn't know if you haven't used flutter before, which I'm supposing you've not. So it has a leading tag, and we are just going to set that to an icon, which is going to be an icon. So the leading, as you would guess, is the widget that comes first, what should show first. So I'm just going to say icons.phone, then hit save. So I get this phone icon. Then we have the trailing. So if you hover on it, you can see that we have the leading, the title, subtitle, trailing, and on all those features you can edit. So we are going to set a title, so title to a text widget, and we are going to say, we are going to give it some dummy phone number, 050000000 something. Then you can hit save. So we get this kind of feel. Okay, so we have the leading icon and our phone number in line without using the row, the container, and other stuff. But how do we style this to look exactly how we want, like we did with the container? Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to wrap the list tile in what we call the card widget, which is also a built-in widget in Flutter. So you can hit Alt Enter, come to wrap with widgets, and change this to card. Then you can remove this const and then add it here. So when you add this, you get this card. So the card by default comes with a white background. You can change it if you want. So if you hover on card, you get all the things you can change. So the color, the shadow color, elevation, shape, that's the border, then foreground, edges, the clip. We will be talking about some of these features in detail in our upcoming tutorials. So for now, we are just going to set the color of these icons and then the text. So the color is going to be colors.teal, and the size is going to be 24, I suppose. Okay, so we can style this up as well. So if you say style, then text style, and we can say, okay, so if you want the same text style for this, you can just come and copy the one we did for this one. So the font size and the color, I'm just going to copy to prevent myself from rewriting the same line of code again. I'm just going to paste it here and hit save. So we get this view, but this is like crunched up to the right or the left, sorry. So we want to bring things in up a bit. So we are going to set the margin and the padding just to make things look good. Okay, so on the card widget we can say margin which is a property we can edit on the card widget, and then you will say const, or you can say edge insert. So edge insert the symmetrical, then set horizontal to 10.0 and vertical to say 15.0, then hit save. So we get this kind of view. Okay, so I'm just going to change the vertical to like 25 so that there's much space up there. Okay, so now we are going to change the color of the icon to something deeper, so I'm going to give it about 900 shade. Now when you add the 900, you have to remove the const from this, then you can add it here for the margin and for the text. So when you hit save, the icon color has changed, and I would increase it small to about 28. So it's a bit bigger, and I can change this to about say 24. Okay, so things look a bit good now. So if you want, you can center this text widget, so Alt Enter, then center it, then you can remove this const to the center widget and hit save, and it would be in the center. That is if you want. If you want, you can center the icon as well. You can also do it this way. So you wrap this list tile in a center widget. Okay, so I think the first option would work better, which is by wrapping this text widget and then wrapping this icon in the center. But I'm just going to leave it as it is now. So now we can use this widget to add our icons. So I'm just going to change the color of the icon. I'm not really keen on the 900. I'm going to change it to like 600. Okay. Now we can add things to the details using the list tab and then the card we created, so I can get rid of the container stuff we did earlier with the rules. Okay, so I'm just going to comment it out as I'll be sharing the code to these ones on GitHub, so you can have the final output of things. Okay, so I can duplicate this and then change the details of the first one to @gmail.com. Then just hit save and change this to email. And hit save. Okay, so with the second card, I'm going to reduce the vertical to like 15. The margin of the vertical is too big. I'm just going to say 10, so it's a bit together, or maybe 5 will do. Okay, so now it looks a bit okay for me. I can also change the first one to like 15, I guess. Great. So now I think we have the details, our email, our phone number. We are going to add the role of what we do, of the row. That's our row. That's exactly what we do for a living or whatever we do. So just below the name, I'm going to add a text widget, and it's going to say a full stack developer. So I can add a const to this. Okay, so full stack should be full stack developer, and I'm going to change the style with text style. Then I'll change the color to colors.white. Then font size to about 20 to 0. Then font family, sorry, not font weight, font family to source sans, and I'll hit save. So I get this kind of feel on things. So now I'm going to add some space, and I'm underlined beneath the full stack developer, that is the row. So I'm going to add a divider and then give it a color. But before that, let me add some more text spacing. So I'm going to say letter spacing, and then set it to like 2.5. So the letter spacing increases the space between each letter, as you can see. Then underneath this text, I'm going to add underneath this text, I'm going to add a divider. Then I'll give it a color of colors.white. Then I'll make it a const, as it's not going to change, and hit save. So I get this whole big divider. I don't know if you can see it, it's really slim. Then to make it how I want, I'm just going to wrap it around the sized box. So this is one of the handy ways where sized box comes in. So I'm just going to add the const here. So remove the const from the divider and add it to the size box. And I'm going to give it a width of 150 and hit save. So it's a bit smaller. And I'll give it a height of 20 and hit save. Okay, so now when you hover on the divider, you can give it a height as well if you don't like the thickness. So you can give it a height, a thickness, an indent, and a color. You've edited the color, you can give the thickness. So if you don't know what the thickness should be, when you hover on thickness, it gives you an idea of how the value it expects, which is a double. So you can say maybe 2.0 and hit save, so it becomes thicker. So I'm just going to say 1. So that's the thickness. If you want the height to also increase, you can say this to about 2.0 and hit save. Okay, so if you don't change it to something bigger, you might not see the effect very well. So I'm just going to say about 5. So basically that will be the idea. But we don't need the height here, so I'm just going to leave the thickness to about 1, or let me say 0.5, 0.6. So it's a bit dimmer. Let me make it 0.8. Okay, so this looks good for me. Then the font weight of this, I'll set it to normal. Font weight to normal. Hit save. Now the reason why I'm setting this font weight to normal is when you check the PubSpec or YAML file, we set the weights by default to 700. So that's why I'm setting this to normal, because I want it to be normal. You can change this if you want. I'm just going to change it to 3.0 to add more spacing. Okay, so far so good. This is the My Card app you've been looking forward to build. You can add more details with your contact details and other stuff as well if you want to. So basically this is the My Card app you've been looking so forward to build. You can increase the size of the avatar, circle avatar, if you want, so to like 50, so it's a bit bigger. I think this is good. Okay, so I'm going to leave the code to this on a GitHub page. I'll leave the link in the description somewhere, so you can get the full source code, so you can compare and contrast when you are building yours. If you get stuck, you can just leave a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, or you can reach out down the Telegram channel or the Slack channel. Either of them works. Okay, so this was the My Card app. So far so good. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel, as it helps us grow and build a lot more. Thank you, and see you in another video.